Hey guys, it's Justine.
And I'm Jenna.
Welcome to the latest episode of Same Brain Podcast. Today we have a special guest, but first let's
roll that intro. Hello.
Hi, we're not in the same room at all right now.
No, same brain, different room.
Same brain, different states. Jenna's still in Los Angeles. Oh wait, I'm in Los Angeles.
You're,
I don't know where
you're
I am.
in Los Angeles.
We are so excited though, because today we have a very special guest. I'm so excited about this because I'm actually a huge fan of his, and the fact that we have him here on the podcast today is very exciting.
So we actually have Panos Panay, who is the Chief Product Officer at Microsoft. And also we just had the Windows 11, briefing that was just recently announced today when we were recording this. So a lot of really exciting news coming out of Windows 11, Surface, Microsoft, and we have Panos ready to chat with us. Can you believe it?
Believe it, actually. I'm such a huge fan of his just because he does such a great job presenting products and making them kind of relatable and showing you that there are people at Microsoft. Like, this is something that they're creating for us. And yeah, let's just jump in and chat with him.
Hello. Thank you so much for joining us on Same Brain, and congratulations on the Windows 11 news today. It was very, very exciting.
Are you kidding? I'm so pumped to be with you guys. You have no idea. Like, this is so cool for me.
This is so great.
The fact the sisters, so I have a brother. I put him up in my imagery today for the show. He's like my soulmate. When I watch you all work, it's pretty inspiring. You should know. I told my brother I was coming on. He was pretty pumped.
Oh my gosh, you'll have to have him come on, and then we can do some sibling rivalry here.
We should do it, the four of us. Yeah,
I love it.
He's a little too eccentric, honestly. He's a Hollywood producer, crazy, thinking creative. But yeah,
perfect, because we're very weird. So. Yeah. The weirder, the better. We
don't. My brother and I don't always see eye to eye, but we work pretty well together.
Well, I feel like in that situation, Jenna's usually the one that's like, "What are you doing? You can't be doing this." So she kind of is sort of that.
Is that right?
The normal part of the same brain that kind of calms me down and puts me back on track. Because I definitely feel like having those people in your life is so important.
Yeah. Good for you, Jenna. Way to hold it all together. Thank you for being the practical one, I think is what I just heard.
It's exhausting, but somebody's got to do it.
Well, this is so great. We watched the event this morning and it was just really fun because even for me, obviously, yes, I'm, known for loving Apple, but what a lot of people kind of this misconception is I love everything. I love technology. Yeah, and for me, building my first PC when I was in high school, it kind of gave me that sort of sense of, I don't know, just the creativity and the freedom. So for me, Windows means so much because it was the first time that I felt like I was able to create something from scratch and then use it. So to see you guys kind of embracing creators, embracing developers, and especially with this new release, I think you're taking so much of that creativity in mind.
People are back to building PCs in a big way. It's a thing. They post on it. They're excited about it. So that whole, as you talk about it, Justine, you think about you used to do it and it's full swing back. What's old is new again, for sure.
It's so much harder now to get your hands on supplies to build PCs since everybody wants those new and improved cards. Sure. But I'd be down to build a PC one day. I'm scared.
We can collab. I'll go back to my high school ways. I've learned so much since then.
All right, I'll tell you what. I'll get back together and we'll build a PC together. It'll be a blast. We'll just continue. We'll just assemble it like that. Come on, that's worth something, isn't it? We'll just sit down piece by piece, part by part. It'll be a good time.
And the first thing we test is Windows 11.
Yes.
Just go right in. We'll boot right up into Windows 11 and we'll go after it that way. It's perfect.
And if we booted into Windows 11, what new features are we going to see?
That's such a great lead in. So as a team, we put this thing together, Jenna, in a way that we were thinking about. It's a combination of the times that we're living in or living through, kind of just living in the pandemic or through the pandemic. And as a team kind of comes together and imagine, you're designing a product through these screens. So there's a lot going on, creating and designing the product through the screens that you're designing it for. And as a team, we talk a lot about how do we empower people to produce their best content? How do we inspire them to create, get to their most creative selves? There's so much coming with the new Windows 11, coming into play. It's impossible to say, hey, here are the, I think 200 and something features. It's just not, it'd probably be the most boring podcast you've ever heard because it'd be a list. And I hate to do that to you, but the idea that there's so many different parts coming together in kind of a seamless nature, I hope you see it. Specifically, I'm waiting for you to use it. as I see your reviews and how you talk about products, like Justine, as you pull through some of the details that you pull through, which I love, when you get into the product, my biggest question is, how do you feel? So there's a lot in this product, from the App Store to Android apps coming to the platform, to the start being centered. But at the end of the day, like every single one of these components, how do they come together for you and how do you feel when you use them is what matters most.
So one of the new features of Windows 11, with the external monitor, there's like the docking and undocking features where basically if you undock it, it will, make everything minimalized on your one device. And then as soon as you dock it again, it'll all continue to go back the exact way that it was with the external monitor, which I think is really interesting and really cool, because anytime I've ever tried that, in the past, no matter what device I'm using, it's just never goes back to the same, and then it's very frustrating. So that was one feature that I am really excited about.
Yeah, it's a cool feature. In general, one of the principles and the design points was never, what's the best positive way to say it? Like, always know where you are. Like, it's not only that Windows is familiar and it's kind of, been part of our lives in different ways. Justine's been building PCs herself, but the idea that you don't get lost, that you always know where you are, that's an important thing for especially a creator as you're moving fast and coming in and out. So being in the pandemic, what kind of changes, like think about that scenario. One, if you dock because you now are working more from home or learning from home, you're a student, you're getting more out of the multi-monitor scenario for sure. But boy, how painful is it, Jenna? You kind of called out the pain point. Like once you undock and redock, you have to rearrange everything and start over. So the feature itself is meant to be, it's just a landing spot of continuation.
Yeah, and also just like as a completely side note, like I think you've done such a good job with, presenting a lot of these products and showing us how you work and use these things and like integrate with like your family. And I think that's just so cool because those are how we're actually using things. And just to see that kind of portrayed in presentations and stuff is really great. So I'm always so excited when you're on screen. I'm like, yes, this is going to be great. And you do such a great job delivering.
I think the most important thing is, products are a reflection of the people that make them and use them. Like if you think about product making and its principle, for all the reviews you do, like we talk about all the time, for all the love we can put into a product, for all the passion we put into the product, we want people to take that same passion, that same love. I know it's a little bit cheesy, but we want to be able to take it out. Likewise, like how we use it, I think it matters, right? Day to day, and we should be okay talking about it. Now, sometimes it puts you in a vulnerable state. There's a little bit of like, for sure, there's judgment that comes with it, I promise. But ultimately, I think connecting with people starts with people, and meaning, the stories we tell shouldn't be about technology, right? I think that's not what the goal is. The goal is how do we connect with each other? How do we connect with the information we want? How do we connect with our minds and center ourselves? And I think hopefully that comes across.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's interesting, like me and Jenna don't have children, but our other sister, she has a 1.5-year-old, and it's been so interesting kind of introducing her to tech because it's like kids growing up now, like they're growing up in a touch-based environment. They don't know what it was like to see a mouse or a keyboard.
It's incredible, right?
It's so fascinating. Like she's going up to the television and touching it. And I'm like, no. And she's touching like some of these other laptops that I have, not touch. And then I give her, like one of the Surfaces, and she's like, oh my gosh, I can touch this. And it's the cutest thing. Just like watching their minds like work. Like she used her finger to draw and then like looked at her finger and there wasn't ink on it. And like the confusion and like the disconnect, it was just amazing because it's like to her, this is the first time she's ever experienced that. So I think
it's rad. It's
you
rad
guys,
you see it.
Yeah. And like for you guys, the like creating for like this next generation it has to be really amazing.
One of the thoughts is, and I talk about it kind of the 5 senses of computing. There's touch, there's typing, there's mouse, there's voice, and there's pen. They shouldn't have to think. It should just be innate. If I pick up a pen, the pen works. If I put my finger down, there's for every action, there's a reaction. If I learn and I type on a keyboard, I mean, my 15-year-old and my 11-year-old type faster than me now, and so that's not saying much, by the way.
You can use voice to text or voice to type.
Yeah, that's right. And so ultimately, like, if we build products right, and like removing technology, part of that means, and that sounds weird coming from me, I guess, but part of that is you shouldn't have to think about what you're doing. And so hearing your story about a 1.5-year-old, that's pretty insightful. Like at the end of the day, that's part, computing is becoming innate for all of us. So it's pretty spectacular, right? Like for me, it was I think a chalkboard and a piece of chalk or a marker that I wrote up on my mom's fridge and then got in trouble for it. Like that's what I had.
Yeah.
But it's a little different now.
I think it's so cool because we've all kind of been through sort of that shift. So it's like they don't know anything else. So it's amazing. Even just like thinking back, like, the last Windows release, it's like you weren't even thinking as much about like these touch-based environments and things like possible Surface 3 that you guys might be creating. We don't know.
No, maybe
the Surface Studio
maybe
3
Studio 3
is
maybe it's right over there.
That is my most requested device. I use the so I'm not home right now. In my office, the Studio 2, which, by the way, I borrowed from Justine.
Yeah, and I didn't get it back.
It's a cool product, right?
I never gave it back because I was like, you know what? I'm using this all the time. So sorry.
Now one of my favorite people now.
Stole
Jenna,
that.
say that to me all day.
And it's the main thing. It sits on my device. I use it for streaming. I use it when I'm like doing documents, and I actually started incorporating it. So when I'm shooting like videos, I can like angle it down under the camera and have like my talking points, kind of use it as like a teleprompter. So like I use the Studio 2 for so many things, and it's
cool.
My favorites.
I know. I'm like, can I get that back? So instead, I got a Surface Hub since I didn't get the Studio 2 back. So now
I have 11 on Hub. This is my. You're actually looking at my 75-inch Hub here. You can use Windows 11 on your Hub for sure.
Oh, that's exciting.
I should.
That's private.
I shouldn't put my pin in. When we were building Surface Hub 2, we were testing the battery pack. You know how we did that? We streamed a Pixar movie. So the wireless streaming is one of the test methods, right? Like we then put the battery, and you just watch somebody walk across campus, like on the street, through the cafeteria. They're just pushing.
Oh my gosh.
They're just wirelessly streaming battery. There's been people you watch people watch the movie as they walk by. There's sound blaring, and it's like that's literally the test. One of the test methodologies for the battery specifically. I mean,
so that sounds
we have
fun. Like if you need us to do those type of tests, like we're
Yes.
down. Like
You're
we'll
giving
come
me-
up there, we'll push whatever, wherever. Like that
I
sounds
just want
fun.
to walk around.
Like, I think I might go on
behind the
Jenna again. There they go. There they are again. Oh, there they are again.
Jenna. As soon as you get back to LA, we're taking the Surface Hub out for a walk. Like, we're going to Third Street Promenade. Like,
Higher security.
It's pretty funny. It's incredible. Like the connectivity on that product's awesome. The battery will last you forever. So you can literally just go hang out and do your stuff.
do you guys have like maybe like off-road wheels? Like we can do an upgrade.
We can get our friend.
The fact that you said this and it'll play later. If you keep this in the bit, for sure the design team in the model shop will be like, "We got this."
You guys are always down for like anything that like creators or ever. Just I feel like you're so supportive, and I know you guys did talk a lot about kind of like the creator aspect, like the widgets and like the apps and things like that. Do you want to talk about kind of like what you guys are doing differently for developers for creating apps and kind of like the new commerce model?
Yeah, there's a couple of things. Like first, you have to believe, if you listen to kind of what Satya said at the end of the show, and just one of the beliefs in the product and what we're trying to accomplish is, we want Windows to be an open platform. We want that to inspire folks. But if you translate that, another way it was said was, we want Windows to be the platform for platform creators. Okay. All right. Now we're talking like, okay, that sounds like, where did you write that down? And how did you, but actually words we use, like, how is it that we can get developers, and whether it's, my son who's 20 and writing code and, working Python right now and just trying to figure out what he wants to do versus maybe a development house, or like, how is it that we can enable them to start their businesses, help them get that flywheel that they want, make it discoverable, make their product discoverable. And part of that is like, okay, well, it takes, the opportunity where build the app you want, start there. If you love, web-based apps, a PWA, then do it. We'll get it in the store with you. That way you can be found, and there's no cost. There's no, we'll give you the best commerce, if you will, rates for a developer. But if you bring your own commerce engine, we won't go do it. We just want you to go thrive. If we can create this energy that is, this flywheel of creators come in, they create what they want, then it's a reflection of the user, because now they can get to their most creative self. That's what this team believes in. And all right, bear with me so it doesn't sound too cheesy, but empowering people to produce and inspiring them to create, like that's what matters. So for you're two amazing creatives at the end of the day. I'm not trying to paint you into like the one thing you are, of all the things you are, is for sure creators, like spectacular creators.
Well, thank you.
And
thank you.
It's true. It's just true. It's inspiring what you can do, what you've accomplished. If you ask Bella, she would tell me like, you have to tell Justine, you have to tell, you have, like,
Aw.
I didn't bring that list, but she wanted, like, she's like, really, Dad? Come on, what about me? You know, that
Oh
sort
my
of thing. But
gosh. Well, but that's
but
what's so exciting is especially like to be able to empower like younger girls. Like that has been for me like the coolest thing to see. Like all these little girls who are like, I wanted to be a programmer because I knew that you started off doing code. And so it's so cool to just sort of see that be accepted because, until I feel like the past like 10 years, I always kind of felt like I was sort of the outcast. And I'm just so lucky that
you should be
Jenna
so proud of that. You
has,
should be so proud of that.
thank you.
The magnitude of what you just said is probably not even felt on your side. Like that inspiration, I don't know, I can't speak for you, but I would tell you that inspiration, it runs.
It's also interesting, I think, too, because like the education system, I think, really has to change. Because for me, being the type of person that I am, I did not do well in school because I didn't learn that way. Now, I think teachers and technology has kind of caught up to people who are able to kind of accommodate people who learn differently. And so for me, I was like, this is not working. And I think it's been really hard, I think, for kids too, to do this whole new online learning because a lot of people can't learn that way. So I think you guys have done a great job with kind of integrating Teams. I mean, without Teams, Jen and I have done huge shoots using Microsoft Teams and being directed through just the camera. And it's incredible, like what you guys have created with it.
I love hearing. Part of Windows 11 is we integrated Teams right into literally right onto the taskbar. So, which is important because one of the things when we redesigned Windows, we brought Start to the center, and there was this. We talked about it like it's kind of like the centering of everything. You hit Start, and you're in, and it's there. It's so familiar, which is really important. It was kind of my home analogy. It just has to be familiar, but it needs change. And part of on that same line, we integrated Teams right into the taskbar. But now we're in this world where our lives are kind of fitting in the PC. So this idea, and that's kind of you asked that question earlier, that transition from the pandemic and kind of what's changed. And now you have one of the elements or one of the inspirations was, well, what's the one touch quick access to somebody that I need? Because I'm here, I'm in life right now. And so this was that little element for the team that was, if we get this right, we can change engagement in another way that people need it and hopefully want it. And then ultimately, kind of they feel like they're bringing the things they love closer to them.
In the briefing where you said how important communication is and how actually this pandemic brought you closer to your family. And I kind of feel the same way, like the pandemic, like during the pandemic, I was like just sitting alone in my office and I'm like, you know what, maybe I'll start streaming video games. So, I started streaming. And, that was also fun because that was like another thing for me to use my PC. I've never done before. And, I built this community and it was kind of the same thing too. Like we were doing video calls with our parents who were across the country or friends who were in the same city, but we couldn't see. So, it is definitely interesting to see how many more people I connected with when like
it changed, right?
Yeah.
I'm closer with my aunt and uncle in Cyprus, which is, the other side of basically right, middle of the Mediterranean. And I'm closer with them right now than I was 2 years ago, and I haven't seen them physically, but we're closer. Like, is that crazy, right? Like, why did it take it took a pandemic to create this incredible, like this importance of relationships. And I think the spirit of that's true, Jenna. Like when you talk about engaging with your community in a different way, and you were inspired by basically the environment that you've found yourself in. Like we should lean into that a little bit, right? And that's what Teams is, and that's what Teams and Windows are doing together. We want to help, we want to enable that. By the way, speaking of gaming,
I was gonna go there next because I'm very excited about that.
Like if you guys are gamers, right?
Oh, yeah, huge Game Pass fans as well. Like what you guys are also doing just to make it, no matter what device you have, like it's gonna kind of pick up that status that you
I think that was important. Like cross-plat so important. You see Game Pass, on Xbox, on the PC, Android. It's incredible, right? Like what that can bring for people. And when you talk about community, Jenna, and bringing people together, I don't know if there's a more powerful way than gaming. And what Phil and team do specifically with Xbox. I know you guys spoke to Phil a couple weeks ago.
He was here a couple weeks ago.
What they've done on Xbox and. Now, when we can bring the tech over to Windows 11, it really is stunning what you can do. And then think about the connections you make, like you talked about, Jenna. It's so inspiring.
We just got a 5-minute notice that popped up.
Oh, we did.
So
we did. That's what happened.
So if there's any other things that
Sorry
you
to-
want to add or say or leave our audience with? Like, honestly, it's so incredible to talk to you. So hopefully one day we'll be in the same room again and you can come
Wouldn't
back
that be
on.
incredible? Oh my
It
God,
really would.
you know, we're at the beginning of this next era of Windows, and you know, the idea that it is an open platform, the idea that it is a design, I think, that is elegant, can really inspire you to be the best you can be, which is what we dream of. Ultimately, I hope people get a chance to get their hands on it, and not only learn the product, but ultimately create on it.
When do you think we'll be able to get our hands on it?
You know, it's interesting. Oh boy, good question.
Waiting patiently.
There's what they call insider builds coming out next week, as it turns out. But those are, you know, you really kind of go after. You have to go find them, and they're early builds. And this holiday is when Windows 11 comes. You know, there isn't a better time right now than to buy it. Right now, buying a PC, it's Windows 11 ready. Like as I speak to you, all the PCs on shelf are Windows 11 ready. At a holiday, they'll be amazing. And then in the fall, when Windows comes, you'll get that update, and it should be pretty awesome.
No, it's amazing. I'm very, very excited.
Very excited. I'm going to have a lot of devices to update.
Yeah, you both made my day.
I'm so glad we were finally able to do this and hang out.
That's
And
cool.
yeah, next time we'll have to have a LAN party. Oh my gosh, we can bring all of our Surfaces. I'll bring my Surface Hub with my wheels.
The off-roading wheels.
You already got your wheels done.
I'm
They're
working
already
on
done.
it. I'm definitely doing this.
We should get you in the lab. I think you'd have a blast here. We should get you out here. It would be like it would literally be like a playground for you.
Oh my gosh.
You
We're
both
there.
would have a blast. You should get out here.
Ready.
We are vaxxed up,
Let's
ready to go.
Vaccinated, we'll go.
There's nothing that stops us after July 1st. Let's make it happen. All right.
Amazing.
Let's find some time and let's get in there.
Well, thank
Sounds
you
good.
so much for joining us.
All right.
This was amazing.
Thank you so much. It's
All right.
wonderful to meet both of you in person. So awesome.
Thank
Congrats
you so
again.
much.
All right.
Bye. Oh my gosh, that was so fun, Jen. I loved chatting with him. This was so great. It's also so strange because I'm looking at you on Microsoft Teams and normally you're in the same room. Is this our first remote podcast?
I mean, we've done remote, but like us remote, yeah. But
Yeah.
you know what? I actually like it a lot better because you're in front of me, so I don't have to turn my neck.
It's true. Yeah.
Lovely. Like usually I've got to like look at you like awkwardly, but now you're just right in front of me on the screen, which is very, very nice.
Well, this was so much fun, Jen. I will hopefully see you soon at some point. Maybe our brains will be back together. We'll merge for same brain.
Thank you so much to Panos and the whole team at Microsoft for, allowing him to come on our podcast. It was incredible, very insightful and fun. If you guys want to leave reviews, you can leave reviews, Apple Podcasts, which, I said that, but you can leave reviews or voice messages, anchor.fm/samebrain. Thanks, Jess. I'll see you later.
I'll see you later.
Bye.
Hey, can you maybe pose? We can have like a little thumbnail or something? Great, we'll leave that in because
Love that. I love to see it.